Good morning. Let me say good morning to everyone. I just wanted to make sure I didn't make the same mistake by pulling out the speech and start reading and it was the wrong audience. You know, that's not good news, But let me welcome all of you to the Legacy Room at City Hall. It's an honor to stand in front of you today as Houston's mayor. Our city is faced with both many opportunities and with many challenges. One opportunity came our way when Novo Nordisk invited Houston to join the Global Cities Changing Diabetes Initiative. Novo Nordisk convened 5 cities around the world to determine how best to address the diabetes epidemic in urban settings. I first heard about Cities Changing Diabetes from members of the community. When they tell me that an effort like this is worldwide to support, I try my best to listen. Houston was the only U.S. city selected, and the local community has answered the call and engaged. And this effort has been led by our superb staff at Houston Health Department under the leadership of Stephen Williams and Dr. Faith Foreman. Today, you will hear the results of the good work that has been done since Cities Changing Diabetes launched in Houston in November of 2015. Diabetes affects all Houstonians, our families, our communities, our school, our workplace, our places of worship, and ultimately our economy. And the reality is there are a lot of people who are walking in the city of Houston and have no idea that they may be affected by diabetes. And oftentimes many don't find out until they go to the doctor, maybe looking for something else, and then they are told they have diabetes or they are marginal in getting it. And so it behooves us all. And let me just say to it, it's not just those who are poor. There are many who are not poor, well educated, that are walking around and they have diabetes and they simply don't know it. There's hardly a person in our city who is not affected. It doesn't matter whether you are rich or poor, whether you're highly educated or less educated, or whether you are not, you're racial or ethnic minority. We are all vulnerable to developing diabetes, period. I will not forget one of the persons who was responsible for getting me into this office, Nina Bailey, years ago. She jumped ditches for me. She put yard signs down. I mean, she did the whole 9 yards. And then she was diagnosed with diabetes. It affected her legs. She continued to put down the yard signs. It got progressively worse. And because she didn't get the treatment that she needed early on, one leg was amputated, and then another, and then eventually she lost her life. So for me, this is very personal. And I think we need to do everything that we can to get out front, to tell the story, to educate people, because oftentimes lives are affected. Medical costs rise simply because people are not educated. Diabetes is an epidemic that has enormous financial and human costs. As a non-communicable disease, diabetes sneaks upon us all. It is a serious chronic illness that can bring with it complications like heart disease, stroke, blindness, and limb amputations. At the same time, type 2 diabetes can be prevented. As leaders who care about Houston, we owe it to our families, our friends, and neighbors to do all that we can to avoid it. Dr. Linda's research demonstrates that diabetes affects all of us. We are too busy to exercise because we have too much to do and too little time. We don't make health our highest priority. We live in neighborhoods where exercise is not easy or where we can't find the food that support healthy eating. We have so-called food deserts in our city, and those food deserts are real. I happen to live in a community where there's a food desert. Acres Home area has been a food desert for many years. There are too many areas in our city that food deserts exist, and in a growing, dynamic, vibrant city where many people are doing well, there are still too many communities that are not where they need to be, and we cannot continue to allow that to happen in the 4th largest city, soon to be the 3rd, where we boast about how great we are, and ultimately we will be determined by how we address those who find themselves in these situations. Even with the Texas Medical Center, right here in our backyard, with all its great institutions, or with nonprofit clinics like the Hope Clinic and Legacy that provide primary care to people from all communities in our city, we do not quite understand how to access the health care system. Even though some here today have health insurance, that does not mean we are taking good care of ourselves and prioritizing our health. And quite frankly, in this city that I love so dearly, it is an indictment to have the Texas Medical Center right here in our backyard, and so many people who are still in need of access to health care. I think we can do better, and I'm certainly calling upon the public health sector to do better. The way it is now is unacceptable. And quite frankly, we cannot invite people from all over the globe and talk about how great we are and the institutions that we have and the focus that we are spending on innovation and creativity. And too many people in our own city are desperately in need of the very same assets that we have that we offer across the globe. As a city, we are trying to make it easier to stay healthy. We are promoting physical activity and better nutrition through the Houston Health Department and other agencies, and through the myriad of public-private partnerships focused on making Houston a healthier city. These are great efforts because while diabetes is a serious, debilitating disease, it is also a preventable one. Increased physical activity and modest weight loss have been proven to sharply reduce rates of diabetes in people at risk for the disease. Cities Changing Diabetes is one of those public-private partnerships for which I have high expectations. Dr. Foreman has already briefed me about some of the solutions that Cities Changing Diabetes have developed and is advancing. The Houston Diabetes Resource Center is a superb example of public and private sector entities partnering to meet a very difficult challenge, helping people who are vulnerable to developing pre-diabetes or diabetes gain access to effective and culturally appropriate tools, education, and navigational resources. This helps even those of us blessed who have insurance coverage to better understand and benefit from this complex system of care. Walk It Out Houston, MEND, the Faith and Diabetes Conference, and Bridges to Excellence are some of the other initiatives that are in progress. Cities Changing Diabetes is at midpoint. You have taken a lot of time to understand the problem in Houston. You have conducted research. You have engaged grassroots and grass tops, and now you are translating it into solutions. You should be very proud of what you have accomplished so far. When we in Houston put our minds to something, we get it done. It is through community-wide initiatives and public-private partnerships like this that Houston gets its best work done, and I am highly motivated to support Cities Changing Diabetes. Please stay engaged and support these efforts so Houston can serve as an example for the rest of the world of how a community can come together to tackle a problem. Together we can impact the health and future of Houstonians by reducing the incidence of diabetes. Lastly, on Monday, November the 14th, World Diabetes Day, I will personally get involved in Cities Changing Diabetes to create awareness about the disease and encourage people to become responsible for their health, to get screened, and to seek care. City Hall alone, with many other buildings downtown, will turn blue to highlight the importance of addressing diabetes. We won't turn blue because we are Democrats. We'll turn blue. I had to throw that in, you know. Not a partisan speech. We are bipartisan in nature. But blue is a good color. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all here today for your visionary leadership, and thank you for not giving up on collaboration, brainstorming, and solution development. This is not easy work, but it's incredibly important. And what you are doing is absolutely essential for making Houston a better city and preparing us for tomorrow. My commitment to you and to this group is that in this city, if you believe it, you can dream it. And if I believe, we can lead the way. We are not second to New York, LA, DC, or Atlanta. Houston will always be on the forefront, and in this particular area, I promise you, we will be at the forefront. Thank you so very much.